Good morning, everyone. We are going to begin by singing, so I'm going to invite our song leaders up to join us this morning to lead us from here. We're going to sing number 112, Do You Hear? The words will be on the screen or in the gray hymnal. Please rise in body and spirit, and let's sing together, Do You Hear? Welcome this morning to the Unitarian Society of Santa Barbara. Welcome into this sanctuary of the soul where we take time to listen. Listen for that voice of love, justice, and compassion that rings through us and out into the world, a beacon in a hurting and beautiful world. Welcome to the Unitarian Society of Santa Barbara. I am the Reverend Julia Hamilton. My pronouns are she, her, and I am delighted to be here this morning with you, with our community choir and Gwendolyn Kilfoyle, who will be leading us in song this morning, with Ellen Broidy, our worship associate, and Heather Levin on the piano, with all of you here in our physical sanctuary, and those of you joining us in our online sanctuary. We are one community this morning in many places, and it is good to be together. If you're joining us for the first time or the second time and you want to get to know more about who we are, please don't hesitate to stop by our welcome table out in the courtyard or click that visitor link online so that we can keep in touch with you about everything that's going on here at the congregation and help you get connected to this community. And if you've been attending for a while and you think that this just might be your place, your spiritual home, we would love to welcome you into membership in the congregation at any time. You can stop by the membership table to find out more information. We have a lot going on here as the seasons change here in Santa Barbara. You can feel it, this fall that is happening all around us. And with the fall comes some of our beloved annual events, including our All Souls service next Sunday. On the first Sunday in November is typically when we recognize the ancestors, our beloved ancestors of our family and our hearts. We build our community altar together, so everyone is invited to bring a memento, a photo, something that reminds you of those beloved people you want to remember together next Sunday. So don't forget to bring that with you to church or bring that with you wherever you are joining us from. Also coming up on the first Tuesday of the month, that means November 4th, is our monthly Vespers service. This is an evening service full of candlelight and meditative quiet and simple songs that we sing together. It's an opportunity to restore your spirit, to take a breath. It's a lovely way to recharge. And as the light starts to fade, the candlelit sanctuary starts to glow even more beautifully. So please join us for the Vespers service. Charlotte and I co-lead that service together, and it's been a wonderful opportunity to gather on a Tuesday evening. We also have a little bit more of a raucous opportunity to gather this evening with our open mic night. Ken Beiser, are you out there somewhere? Ken Beiser can answer any questions you might have about the open mic night that's happening this evening. All are welcome to share your talents. Don't keep them hidden. Let us know. Poems, music, all kinds of things that you can do that you want to share. Bring them to the open mic night tonight. I invite you now to take a breath, to settle yourself wherever you are, and to allow yourself to be fully present to our time together as we ring our bell and let the sound connect us.
Good morning. If you're joining us in our online sanctuary and would like to participate from home, please type into the chat, "Chalice is lit," and the name of your street or town. While we cannot see the flames, we know they're burning bright throughout our far-flung community. The words for this morning's chalice lighting, called The Great Turning, are by Lisa Garcia Sampson. In these wild, historic, and uncertain times, we gather to remember who we are, who we belong to, and what we are called to do. As we light this chalice, we kindle the spirit of the Great Turning, the movement for justice alive in this nation today. May we feel it in our bones, and in the stillness of this hour, may we sense it calling our name.
Each Sunday when we gather, we take time to lift up something good in the world, something that renews our hope, that brings us joy, that reminds us of the possibilities that exist even among the hard times. And this Sunday, I asked Ellen if I could do the good thing. Normally our worship associates presented, because just yesterday afternoon, Christina Boardman, who is our youth group advisor, and Brian Walden, who grew up in this congregation as part of the youth group decades ago, they were married right here in this sanctuary amongst a loving family and friends, and that is a very good thing. So, of course, Christina and Brian are not here with us this morning. They are taking a well-deserved Sunday off, but we extend to them all of our love and congratulations, and full of joy for the way love comes to being in the world among us. Congratulations, Christina and Brian. Let us take a moment to get to know one another. That is one of the reasons we're here, to learn about each other and to grow deeper in our relationships. So take a moment to turn to a person next to you, welcome them, greet them, say hello, and then we'll sing.
Hello. Long time no see.
Promise me you'll sing Wild Mountain Time again. So,
Okay.
Okay.
I feel like that's like a spring song.
I
You
know,
the
no,
summertime is coming.
Yeah, but
so maybe
I'm not
maybe we'll
not
reprise
rushing
it.
you on it. Just have to make sure it's gonna happen.
That was so great how well received that was.
Yeah. So what's this? It's a gorgeous song. I'll never find it.
I'm going to call everyone's attention to that we are gathering in song once more, and this is a song that is not in our hymnal, but I'm going to turn it over to Gwendolyn and our community choir to teach us.
Good morning. Yes, it is on. Good morning. I'm Gwendolyn. These are members of the community choir here at Unitarian Society. And we're going to teach you a song. It will be familiar to those of you who joined us for the Joyful Jubilee last Saturday. And so you can support the learning. And it'll be new for those of you who were not there, but this will give you a wonderful taste of the event. Okay? So it's a 3-part song. I'm going to teach you the first 2 parts, and the choir will sing the third part for us. Goes like this. Shine your light, all shine mine too. You see me, I see you. Try it. Shine your light, all shine mine too. You see me, I see you. One more time. Shine your light, all shine mine too. You see me, I see you. One more time. Shine your light, all shine mine too. You see me, I see you. Awesome, sounds great. So then we'll add a harmony to that. Shine your light, all shine mine too. You see me, I see you. Try that. Shine your light, all shine mine too. You see me, I see you. Yeah, just like that. One more time. Shine your light, all shine mine too. You see me, I see you. One more time. Shine your light, all shine mine too. You see me, I see you. This is going to sound so beautiful when we put it all together. We'll have the melody on this side. That harmony I just taught you we'll have on this side. And I'm going to have the choir sing the third part for you, which they'll add in. But they'll just give an example here. Here we go, guys. Shine like a star, radiant love, who we are. Shine like a star, radiant love, who we are. Okay, here we go. Over here, we'll go. Shine your light. 1, 2, here we go. Shine your light, all shine mine too. You see me, I see you. Shine your light, all shine mine too. You see me. Keep that going. We're going to add the harmony. Shine your light, all shine mine too. You see me, I see you. Shine your light, all shine mine too. You see me, I see you. Shine your light, all shine mine too. You see me, I see you. Shine like a star, radiant love, who we are. Shine like a star, radiant love, who we are. Standing up now. Shine your light, all shine mine too. You see me, I see you. Beautifully done. Thank you.
that time in our service when we like to bring kids of all ages and sizes who'd like to come forward for a story to come on up. Look at Aldo rushing right up here. Thank you, Aldo. We have important work for you to do today during our story. Welcome, everyone. Come on up. I think there are a couple more back there, but maybe they're going to come up later. All right. Hi. It's so good to see you all. All right. So, who here likes ice cream? Oh, wow. I had no idea. What a shock. Do you like to go out for ice cream with your family? Yeah? Oh, cool. Oh, Simon heard ice cream and he came up. Okay. Who has a favorite flavor they want to just share? Just shout it out. What's your favorite flavor? Strawberry, mint chocolate chip. Mint chip, a lot of mint chip. How about all you? Vanilla, someone said. Ooh, cookies and cream. People like ice cream here. Neapolitan, wow, lots of very exotic tastes in this group. Okay, so kids, you all like to look out there, which is fine. I love that they like to look out at all of you. But listen to me too. So, okay, I need you to use your imagination a little bit here because I'm going to tell you a story that's not true. It's the kind of story we might call a thought experiment so that you can think about what you would do if it was true, if it were true, okay? So here we go. Here's the story. Just this week, the mayor of Santa Barbara has declared that eating ice cream is illegal for children under 18 years old. What? The outrage. Listen to the outrage. All on his own, the mayor has decided that ice cream is not healthy for kids and therefore he is banning the sale of ice cream to children and their adults. No ice cream for kids. In addition to that, he has declared that it is illegal for children to even hang out with anyone eating ice cream. What? Right? That means if you go to a birthday party, even if it's a birthday party for an adult, and people are eating ice cream at this birthday party, it's illegal for you to be there. You cannot associate with ice cream eaters. There's a lot of feeling about this in the room. So remember, I told you this is not a true story, so I hope nobody's panicking here. But if it were true, you guys are already on the right track here. If it were true, what would you do if the mayor really did say kids aren't allowed to eat ice cream? You have the right to speech, which means you can tell the mayor you don't like this. How would you let the mayor know that you don't agree with this ice cream ban? Does anyone have some ideas? Yeah, Clark. Protest. Clark says protest. Anything else? Yeah, Arlo. Eat ice cream just in defiance. Start your own ice cream shop. You ready to be arrested for starting your own ice cream shop? Because you might have to go to jail, which sometimes protesters do. Oh, throw ice cream. Anybody else? Is there anything else you could do? A petition, somebody said. Show up at city council meetings, maybe. But I like the idea. What?
Oh, a different mayor. Yeah, a different mayor.
Get a different mayor, yes, yeah. Start getting a different mayor. Exactly. Arlo. Move away to another town, you could do that, but yeah, that's one way. So let's say that you decide to organize a peaceful protest. Hide ice cream under the mayor's pillow so that it melts when he lies down on it. That's like, you guys are very creative. I hope you're all going to come to the next No Kings rally. So anyway, all right, let's say you decided to organize a peaceful protest like the No Kings protest last weekend. People usually bring signs to peaceful protests, right? So Charlie and Julia have some paper and pens, and they're going to quickly write some signs. What would you want those signs to say? You think of anything? Yeah, go ahead, Arlo. No, boo mayor. Boo mayor, okay.
If we can't eat ice cream,
If we can't eat ice cream, you shouldn't be able to either. Anybody else? Ice cream for all. Joy. I didn't hear. That's coming up. Yep, ice cream for ice cream. Yes, yes. Do we have like one or two more? Simon,
Ice cream for all.
you scream for law?
Ice cream for all.
Oh, ice cream for all. Yes, that's good. Yes. All flavors welcome. That's a good one. I like that. What about, like, in some of your houses, maybe you don't get to eat ice cream unless you've eaten your vegetables. What if you say, no ice cream, no veggies? No ice cream, no peace. Yeah, that's a good one, too. You guys are ready for this. Great. Well, so there are also usually like Joy, did you have one more? Give us ice cream, yeah.
All right, we got some good signs here.
So usually, also often at peaceful protests, there are songs or chants. Does anyone have any ice cream songs? No. Okay. Carlo? No. Okay. Well, there's a chant. That's it. That's it. Arlo's got it. Okay, we're going to try this. I think most of you know this. I scream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream. I scream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream. I scream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream. I scream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream. Okay, all right, you've all got that. Joy. You've all got that. That's great. You guys are on this. You are so ready. The mayor has nothing on you if this law comes about. So here's what we're going to do now. Charlie and Julia passed out the signs. We are going to march out to Star King together. All of us are going to Star King today, shouting our chant. And when we get there, we're going to eat some ice cream. All right, ready? I scream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream. I scream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream. I scream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream. I scream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream. I scream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream. I scream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream. I scream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream. Nice.
We'll go back to singing as we go next week. Oh. I invite us all now to take a breath, to take in joy where we find it, to take those moments of ice cream where we can get them. Today, as we consider what free speech means to us as a spiritual community, as part of a wider civic body, I'm reminded that free speech also includes the freedom not to speak, the freedom to be safe in sanctuary and simply be. The freedom to know that you are held in love just because of who you are, not necessarily what you do. And so I invite us now into a time of reflection and quiet and meditation, a time to settle yourself in your body and breath wherever you are. Perhaps you hold your hands open on your lap, close your eyes or soften your gaze. Allow that armor that we put on out in the world to fall away for just a moment. And allow ourselves the gift of being, of knowing that you are beloved without saying a word. Go ahead and stay right where you are as we sing together just once through number 123, Spirit of Life.
Last week, we witnessed an extraordinary display of strength in numbers as over 10,000 people gathered in Alameda Park to make their voices heard. We were surrounded by strangers who quickly coalesced into a joyful community of heroes, standing up peacefully and humorously to demand a return to what's good and right and positive in our world. Justine was so on target last week when she selected No Kings as the good thing. In the aftermath of the rally, and thinking about today's topic, I began to reflect on other perilous moments in our nation's history. These moments, way too fraught for mass demonstrations, saw individuals thrust into the spotlight, left standing on their own to protect their freedom and, by extension, our fragile democracy. This morning, I'd like to talk briefly about one of these freedom fighters. On February 9th, 1950, the junior senator from Wisconsin, Joe McCarthy, gave a speech to the Republican Women's Club of Delaware County, West Virginia. In this speech, he brandished a piece of paper that he claimed contained the names of over 200 communists or communist sympathizers employed by the U.S. State Department. McCarthy's speech is generally considered the opening salvo of the Second Red Scare and cast our country into a deep, dark abyss of paranoia and suspicion. The chronology, however, is somewhat more complicated and nuanced. The first Red Scare of the early part of the 20th century never truly ended. It just took a back seat to the necessity of forging alliances with the Soviet Union during the Second World War. Although there appeared to be a brief and welcome respite from hunting quote-unquote subversives, the investigations and purges actually kicked back into high gear prior to McCarthy brandishing his list of 200. This certainly was the case in New York City. In 1948, in a stunning example of anticipatory compliance, the New York City Board of Education, the city's Corporation Council, and the Office of the Superintendent of Schools joined forces to identify, ferret out, and eliminate from the classroom teachers suspected of present or past membership in or sympathy for the Communist Party of the United States. If there was ever an example of a slippery slope, this was it. As the investigations probed into activities that had little or nothing to do with ability in the classroom or with the extremely remote possibility that teachers were slanting lessons in ways that would expose impressionable children to a dangerous, alien, and subversive ideology. Instead, the investigations and subsequent departmental hearings focused on two things. The first, based on often specious evidence, was determining whether the teacher had ever belonged to the Communist Party And second, and more importantly, when confronted with this evidence, was the teacher willing to confess to past or present membership? A confession of membership, however, was not enough. There was one additional hurdle for the accused to jump. The sole factor in determining whether a teacher retained her position was her willingness to name names, to inform on colleagues and often on friends who may have been members of the party. The requirement to inform was a pernicious litmus test that supposedly proved the sincerity of a teacher's separation from the Communist Party and therefore provided evidence of her fitness to return to the classroom. In fact, the investigators already had all the names. The point here was to humiliate and to debase the teacher. In 1952, a married Jewish middle-aged mother of two, we'll call her Mrs. F., a veteran of some 2 decades as an elementary school teacher in the Bedford-Stuyvesant neighborhood of Brooklyn, became a target of the investigations. This came as no surprise to Mrs. F. or to her family and friends, because in addition to the active role she played in the New York City Teachers Union, an organization that fought for better schools and improved conditions for teachers and regularly incurred the wrath of the Board of Education, she was also a vocal advocate for her students, their families, and the community in which she taught. At a time when seniority meant a ticket out of a ghetto school to one in a middle or upper middle class neighborhood, Mrs. F. elected to stay in Bedford-Stuyvesant, a poor, majority Black community with severely under-resourced schools that had long been ignored by the city's education establishment. Mrs. F. cared for the intellectual, cultural, physical, and emotional needs of her students by promoting what was then known as Negro History Month, by buying supplies for the classroom with her own money, providing winter apparel for children who otherwise would have gone without, engaging fully with the Bedford-Stuyvesant community throughout her tenure there, and committing the cardinal sin of insisting on her rights under the Constitution to refuse to respond to the "are you now or have you ever been" question. In short, she was the ideal target. I wish I could report that the investigation and hearing ended on a positive note, with Mrs. F. returned to the classroom and community. But this now was October 1952, 2 years and many purges after Joe McCarthy's West Virginia speech, and the nation was deep in the throes of a witch hunt that would result in the destruction of careers and the upending of lives of thousands of decent, law-abiding Americans, including Mrs. F. Although she and her attorney mounted a rigorous and compelling case in her defense that focused on her stellar record as a teacher, the high regard in which she was held by both the Bedford-Stuyvesant community and her school district supervisors, and the dangers to academic freedom that loyalty oaths posed, none of this was sufficient. The only thing that mattered was Mrs. F's refusal to respond to questions about her personal political beliefs. She was found guilty of insubordination and conduct unbecoming a teacher and summarily fired. Where many others buckled under the strain of the investigations, admitted to party membership, and yes, named names, Mrs. F. stood firm and alone in the face of prosecution that could be more accurately described as a persecution. Although Mrs. F. featured prominently in my dissertation on the New York City Teachers Union, I never had the privilege of actually meeting this talented, passionate, stubborn, and committed woman. I do, however, feel a deep sense of connection to her through knowing and admiring her son, Professor Dick Flax, and through my special relationship with my comrade in faith and in struggle, her grandson, Chuck Flax. In myriad ways, they carry forth Mildred Flax's legacy. If she were still with us, I'm confident she would have been at the front of the line of march last Saturday.
And I'm so delighted that her grandson Chuck could be here with us this morning. And I hope maybe we can remember Mildred on our community altar next Sunday for All Souls. I would like to share a reading this morning by Howard Zinn. To be hopeful in bad times is based on the fact that human history is not only of cruelty, but also of compassion, sacrifice, courage, kindness. If we see only the worst, it destroys our capacity to do something. If we remember those times and places where people have behaved magnificently, this gives us the energy to act. And if we do act, in however small a way, we don't have to wait for some grand utopian future. The future is an infinite succession of presents. And to live now as we think human beings should live, in defiance of all that is bad around us, is itself a marvelous victory. So ends our reading.
Every week, USSB donates 25% of our Sunday offering to support special projects and community partners that share our deepest values. And this month, we're supporting the Immigrant Legal Defense Center, ILDC. ILDC provides equal access to justice and due process through pro bono legal services to indigent immigrants in deportation proceedings, including unaccompanied immigrant children and asylum seekers. ILDC has recently also stretched their limited budget to add a social worker to the staff because emotional and psychological support can be as critical as legal representation, especially for the youth. ILDC's clients need them desperately now, and ILDC needs us more than ever. Please give as generously as you can, and for those of you at home, the text to give number will appear on your screen. Please join with me in saying the affirmation of gratitude and giving. Let us be grateful when we are able to give, for many do not have that privilege. And let us be grateful for those who share their gifts with us, for we are enriched by their giving. And let us be grateful even for our needs, so that we may learn from the generosity of others.
Thank you, Gwendolyn and the community choir. And just a reminder that all of our singing groups, including the community choir, are open to everyone, no experience necessary. We're rounding up the fall session, but keep your eye out for when it comes back around for its next session. All are welcome. So, in 1950, Harold Levering, a California assemblyman from Bel Air, just outside of Los Angeles, proposed an amendment to the state constitution that would require all religious institutions to sign a loyalty oath or lose their tax-exempt status. The demand for a loyalty oath already applied to all public employees of the state, but this was the first time in the history of the United States that a government imposed such an oath on religious groups. It was passed into the California State Constitution by popular vote in 1952. Religious institutions had until March of 1954 to decide whether or not they would comply. Most did. The American Unitarian Association and its lawyers, in a memo distributed to all California Unitarian congregations on March 15, 1954, recommended that Unitarian churches should make the necessary affidavits and thereby retain their rights to tax exemption, but reserve the right to question the constitutionality of the law. That is to say, sign the oath, but think about fighting it in court. Several congregations decided to break from the majority and refused to sign. Among them was the First Unitarian Church of Los Angeles. At a special meeting of the membership on February 21st, 1954, the congregation voted 206 to 31 in favor of not signing the loyalty oath. They then released the following press statement, which made national headlines when it came out in the New York Times the very next day. The new California statute requiring a declaration of political opinion from churches and other institutions in return for tax exemption is a frontal assault on freedom of religion as guaranteed by the First Amendment of the United States Constitution. The use of the taxing power to command declaration of opinion seems to members of the First Unitarian Church of Los Angeles, as to many Quakers, Universalists, and other religious people, to be an improper invasion of the rights of conscience. While Unitarians yield to none in their degree of their loyalty to their country, they also yield to none in their determination to protect religious, philosophical, and political freedom for every American. The pattern of Assembly Bill number 923, if not stopped now, will reach beyond teachers, public officials, and churches. It will reach every single citizen at every point in his life, and American freedom of opinion and conviction will have disappeared. It is against this disaster that we are standing today. This was no empty gesture, not just words on paper. By refusing to sign the oath, their tax-exempt status was indeed revoked, and this meant that the congregation had to suddenly start paying their property taxes of about $7,000 a year, which in today's money would be about $85,000. The Los Angeles congregation, along with several other California congregations of Unitarians, Methodists, and Quakers, fought this all the way to the Supreme Court, and in 1958, won their case. The law was declared unconstitutional, and the taxes paid were refunded back to the congregations. And yes, you can cheer for that. It took them 4 years, but they prevailed. And all of this, of course, took place against the backdrop of the McCarthy hearings that we heard about and the work of the House Un-American Activities, otherwise known as HUAC colloquially, and the Reverend Stephen Fritchman, who was the minister of First Church LA at the time, a congregation he would serve for over 20 years. He was already well known to that committee and was called to testify in front of them on 2 separate occasions. The second time, in 1951, he risked jail time and being held in contempt for being an uncooperative witness because he refused to name those names. He refused to talk about the board of trustees of the church, or who was renting space from them, or to say whether he was or whether he was not, or ever had been, a member of the Communist Party. During the 1940s and 50s, the congregation in Los Angeles became a haven for blacklisted artists and intellectuals, hosting speakers such as W.E.B. Du Bois, Langston Hughes, Margaret Mead, Linus Pauling, Paul Robeson, and Pete Seeger. The FBI was regularly surveilling them, and the congregation didn't even keep official membership rolls so as not to create lists for the government to subpoena. The story is that Reverend Fritchman personally interviewed every new member of the congregation during that time just to make sure they weren't an FBI informant. I am very grateful that is not part of my job description today. And for those of you who are new, I promise you our new member classes are a little different. One of my most treasured pieces of Unitarian Universalist history that I own, that is sitting in my office, and I'm happy to show it to anybody who wants to, is a little glass piggy bank that says Tax Relief Fund on the side. Hundreds of these were distributed to members and friends of the LA congregation to raise money to help cover the costs. And about 10 years ago, I was visiting my colleague in LA, and he had one in his office, and he knew I had done some research on this history, and I was admiring it, and he said, "Go ahead and take it. There's dozens still down in the basement." And so now it sits there in my office, reminding me of the commitment of our congregations that they have shown over the years to the principles of religious freedom, free speech, and the right of conscience, and their willingness to fight for these principles even at great cost. And so for obvious reasons, I've been reflecting on what our Unitarian Universalist commitment to free speech and the right of conscience means for us today. Why tell these stories from our history? For many of us, it's clear that free speech is a civic virtue, a core component of a democratic society. But what changes when it moves from a political concept to something we lift up on Sunday as a religious and spiritual commitment? Understanding the legal definition of free speech is one thing, but what is the value of exploring free speech as a spiritual practice and not just a civil right? Is there more to this idea of free speech than just the ability to speak one's mind without persecution? So to dive deeper into this idea of what free speech as a spiritual practice might mean, I started with the word free. What do we mean when we say freedom? There are, of course, all kinds of philosophical discourses about what freedom means. It's a concept I could probably preach on every Sunday for a year and just scratch the surface. At a recent conference I attended, our National Unitarian Universalist Association president, the Reverend Dr. Sophia Bettencourt, who is also a theologian by training, she encouraged us to dive deeper into our understanding of freedom with the goal of reclaiming it as a core part of our Unitarian Universalist heritage. So taking one small sliver of this concept, what do we mean by free when we talk about free speech? The historian Timothy Snyder gave me a starting point, as so often he does these days, in his recent book on freedom. It covers a lot of territory, but one of his main arguments is that we need to reclaim positive definitions of freedom, not just negative ones. That is to say that freedom is not just about the removal of barriers, not just freedom from, but rather it's freedom to. Freedom, he says, must point us toward something, not just describe an absence. He says, if we want to be free, we will have to affirm, not just deny. Sometimes we will have to destroy, but more often we will need to create. Most often, we will need to adapt, both the world and ourselves, on the basis of what we know and what we value. We need structures, just the right ones, moral as well as political. Virtue is an inseparable part of freedom. We need moral structures, he says, that help us create this positive definition of freedom, because it is freedom itself that allows us to imagine and create the possibility of a better world. That sounds a lot like the charge Reverend Dr. Betancourt gave to us for our congregations to be places where we practice and, if need be, defend this kind of freedom, the freedom to act as moral agents in the world. And if freedom is the freedom of a person to create, to move and adapt and seek the truth in service of the good, then free speech is the spiritual practice that makes that possible. It is the way we practice that search, the way we go about articulating and refining and communicating that creative search for truth among us. As another colleague once put it, we come here on Sunday to learn how to speak the truth with love. Snyder also throws in a useful definition of truth here, that truth is not just a standalone, isolated fact, but truth is something that connects us. If something is true, it has to be true for more than just me. It must point to some aspect of a shared reality. If it's just one person's thought, he said, that's an opinion, not a truth. In this way, if we understand that truth is something that connects us, that extends beyond just the individual, then free speech as a spiritual practice is not just about the speaker. It's also about the listener, because one does not exist without the other. Free speech requires a community of practice in which to exist. Given this, I would perhaps amend my colleague's statement and say that we come here on Sundays and every other time that we gather to learn both to speak and to listen to the truth with love. In this conception of freedom, this relational and creative conception that requires listeners as well as speakers, freedom of speech becomes less about the individual right to proclaim your ideas without restraint and more about the creative process of speaking our minds together. The learning and sharing that we do in community when we feel safe and free to explore these ideas together, to create something new from the truths that we find in this spiritual practice of free speech. And of course, Snyder's not the first person to articulate the idea that freedom is not just an individual solo project, that freedom is not just the removal of obstacles to our ability to act. The idea that freedom in service of something positive is not new. And the historian David Hackett Fisher reminds us that freedom shares the same root as friend. He says, an Indo-European word that meant dear or beloved, it means a connection to other free people by bonds of kinship or affection. Freedom referred to rights of belonging. What a radically different notion of freedom, that it is the rights that come from the way we belong to each other, from being bonded in affection with one another. We are only free together. We are only free in relationship. Snyder says, like freedom in general, freedom of speech is not negative but positive, not about the barriers but the person, not an absence but a presence. We protect free speakers because truth threatens the tyrants. Which brings to that other thing. We protect free speakers, he says, not free speech, because of course, speech cannot exist without a speaker. Even the phrase, protect free speech, can send us down the wrong track, as if the speech itself is what was oppressed and needs to be liberated. Speech only exists in the body of a person, just like meditation can't happen without a person to meditate, and prayer can't happen without a person to pray. Speech as a spiritual practice does not ever exist in a disembodied form. Speech is not oppressed. People who speak are. Speech cannot be liberated. People must be liberated so that they can speak. Freedom of speech means nothing without free speakers, he says. So defending free speech then is not about defending ideas, but it is about defending the people themselves. It means creating a space where people can be free, safe, and connected with one another. Sanctuaries, if you will. Sanctuaries that make it possible to creatively reimagine the world together in the hopes of creating a positive future rooted in freedom for everyone. Sanctuaries can be a place for this practice of free speech to flourish and grow. Which brings me to my last point and full circle back to that loyalty oath that we talked about. Positive freedom, because it is relational and creative and constructive and grounded in our human bodies, right? Which only exist in community with one another. Freedom requires solidarity, not loyalty. In Unitarian Universalist terms, we might put this in the language of recognizing the inherent worth and dignity of all people. And because we recognize that, we are in solidarity with others, right? Other people are just as worthy as we are ourselves. Our shared humanity is what brings us together, not allegiance to a creed or dogma. The spiritual practice of free speech is about people being in solidarity with one another, how we listen to each other's stories and take the risks of sharing our own, learning to become free speakers together. But loyalty is something different. Loyalty is about allegiance, about obedience, sometimes just following through on the commitments we make. And that's not always a bad thing. But when it comes to freedom, freedom relies not on loyalty to an idea, but on solidarity to people, with people. That fundamental idea that we get free together. It's part of our universalist heritage, after all, right? This idea that love does not require loyalty from us, but rather inspires solidarity among us. That no one is left behind, that the love of God is freely given, no oath required. This is why we have no creed or statement of faith, but rather this set of shared values, right? This comes out of our universalist heritage, that love requires no oath to be made real among us. So if I was asked to sign a loyalty oath today, to promise my allegiance to the idea of a nation or government, to limit my speech in accordance with the will of those in power, I hope that I would, as members of First Church Los Angeles did, yield to none in our determination to protect religious, philosophical, and political freedom. Because the freedom to speak and listen to the truth in love, to create sanctuaries where safety and solidarity enable our imaginations to flourish, and to celebrate the bonds of kinship among us. This is what the spiritual practice of a free faith requires of us. May it be so. Blessed be, and amen. Let us join together in song. I invite our singers to come forward. Our singers to come forward for number 34, Though I May Speak with Bravest Fire. Please rise in body and spirit. right where you are, and if you want to put your hands over your heart, or if you have permission to hold hands with the person next to you, or if you want to just hold your hands open, however it is that you get connected to that larger love that moves through us, among us, and beyond us. And as you go out into this beautiful and heartbreaking world, may the light of love shine upon you, out from within you, be gracious unto you, and bring you peace. For this is the day we are given. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. And let us call out a blessing.